Welcome to Somebody You Love, or The Sale of Two Titties. I'm Jenna Love.
And I'm Holly Hart.
And we're experts in disappointing our parents, breaching community guidelines, and banging the people who vote against our rights. Hello, it's Jenna here. We're taking a week off from producing a main episode because we can, and that is as good a reason as any. So what I thought we'd do this week is bring you a bit of a taste of our January bonus episode. So our bonus episodes are only available for our $10 and up patrons on Patreon. And the same episodes with video are available to our $20 plus patrons. At both of these tiers, you also get a whole bunch of stuff. Main episodes a day early and without ads. You get bloopers, of which there are quite a few, behind the scenes footage, and you also get to be a part of the discussion. You get to be a part of our little family, which I personally get a lot out of. Sometimes our patrons add in their experiences with whatever topic we've been discussing that week. They have a chat about the episode. Plus, they also contribute to our questions for guests and have quite a bit of input into the show itself. When you sign up to the Patreon, you have access to all of the previous posts as well. So as of this week, the end of January, there are 5 full-length bonus episodes. There is all of our main episodes without ads. There's, I think, 18 videos of outtakes, and there's more than 20 videos of us behind the scenes, just being ourselves and getting up to fuckery, occasionally featuring Mr. Love, the third member of our merry trio. Now, if you're concerned about how it will show up on your bank statement, it doesn't actually say anything about Somebody You Love. It just says Patreon. So there's no way for anybody from that to see what actual Patreon creators you are subscribed to. And if you're a sex worker, you might be able to claim it, because I claim all of my sex work related patronages as research. So that might be something to consider. On to the episode. Our bonus episodes tend to be less formal than our main episodes. They're quite cash. We basically just press record and then see what happens. For January, we asked our patrons for some questions, and we just did a massive Q&A session. Now, the first question was about the impact of FOSTA SESTA on our lives and businesses. And if you don't know what that is, it will be explained to you quite soon. Now, we've had a main episode on FOSTA SESTA in the works for a while, but we haven't got there just yet. It's a big topic, so we're just going to share our answers to that one question. This is a little tease, just a section of the bonus episode, and obviously, if you enjoy it, we would love for you to consider supporting us on Patreon. But also, it's a discussion that we think is really important and that we didn't want to have entirely behind a paywall. So here it is for your listening pleasure. When FOSTA/SESTA got passed and Backpage was shut down in April of 2018, were you affected by this? Did it affect your income, advertising costs, or how many bookings you would get? Did you have to change how you operated your business?
Just a recap for anyone who is watching/listening who is not familiar with what that is. I'm probably not going to be the best person at explaining, but some laws came into effect in the United States which affected our advertising platforms, basically, or some really prominent advertising platforms that a lot of us use were just taken down overnight, and a lot of us had to scramble to
They basically made advertising in-person sexual services illegal. And while that's just a US law, obviously so many websites are hosted or managed or ran somewhere, somehow there's a connection to the US. So a lot of websites that sex workers advertise on across the world, people woke up in the morning and they were all gone. FOSTA is Fight Online Sex Trafficking Act, and SESTA is Stop Enabling Sex Trafficking Act. So they're like a weird combined little hybrid law. I am intending on doing a full episode on them at some point, but this is a great little teaser for that, I guess. So how did it affect you?
It affected me massively. By that point, I'd been a private sex worker for a few years. But as anyone who has observed my brand with any attention to detail will notice I don't even have a website. I very rarely do shoots. I rarely take photos. I don't really do the professional thing with my brand. I'm very casual about it all, and fortunately it really works for me. But yeah, I really just skated along with minimal stuff. And at that point, I was not out to many people as a sex worker, and I was definitely not face out. So I had a few really grainy, neck down pictures on Cracker, which was this website that was $1 a post. You'd post $1, your pictures would go up, and I'd get bookings from that. And it was pretty consistent for me, and I didn't have social media presence. I didn't have anything. Like I was really just skating by on that. So when that went down overnight, it was huge for me. And also at the time, I was very much someone who lived week to week financially. I was not financially comfortable. And I mean, I think that's a bit of a contradiction because I've just said, well, that was working for me. I think at the time, I didn't believe that I could make a lot of money out of sex work, or I was so used to the minimal amount of pay that I was getting in a brothel that when I was a private sex worker, I sort of felt like that the minimum was plenty. So as long as I could pay my rent, to me, that was enough. But it also just means that I didn't have savings.
For a lot of people, that's enough.
That's enough, yes, yes. And I'm definitely
being able to pay your rent is
poo-pooing that.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. And for me, that was a lot in my life. I'd never lived on my own and paid rent for an entire house or, supported a bunch of pets or anything like that so comfortably. So that was, I felt financially stable, but to make it clear, I basically, didn't have any savings. So when that went down overnight, I was shook. I didn't even know where to begin advertising. A lot of the sites required professional photos. I did not have any of those. I very quickly booked in my first photo shoot with Evelyn Hunt and started to organise that. I didn't know where I was going to be scraping the money for that from. We started advertising in the Canberra Times, which I think was about $80 on a Saturday to advertise compared to the $1 that I'd been paying.
Wow.
It was or $40 on a weekday. Yeah, it was a lot of money. So every day you'd take this massive risk, put your ad in and just hope you'd make that money back. It was just a really big risk and it was incredibly stressful. I was really, really, really stressed.
Did you have regular clientele that found you through Cracker and then struggle to find you again?
Oh, yeah, almost certainly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Because I had no website, no online presence, nothing. So people would have had no idea where to find me.
If they hadn't saved your number, which a lot of people don't, they don't want to save a sex worker's number in their phone, then they had no way of getting it.
No, exactly. So, and a lot of that was my own lack of foresight and putting my eggs all in one basket, which since then I guess I've learned a few life lessons, but it was a hard life lesson to learn. And when it's your livelihood, it's incredibly stressful.
And not everyone has the option of putting their eggs in multiple different baskets.
No.
I mean, that's just it. I mean, that you didn't really you weren't in a position to be able to pay for professional photos. You weren't in a position to spend more than $1 a day on your advertising.
No.
And some of these sites, they cost hundreds and thousands of dollars for advertising. The difference is huge. Yep. No, you can't be too hard on yourself saying
No. I'm just I guess explaining it in quite a balanced way. It's not just that it fucking sucked, but it also was just a collision of a few things. My lack of adult skills, my the universe and being I suppose a less privileged worker at the time in that I guess I could be defined as a survival worker. Definitely not at the vulnerable position a lot of sex workers are. But yeah, I had, every week was the money I needed for the next week ahead. So, and, at the time, I mean, I had a really serious mental health episode in 2016 and this affected my ability going forward to sort of feel comfortable financially. I was always, we all say that. We're all one episode away, or we're all one incident away from homelessness or from severe poverty. And, and that even by early 2018, I was still feeling the caution, the sort of fear that anything could happen at any stage. So, yes, it affected my income massively at the time. I would say for about 6 to 12 months, there was an unreliability in the work that was coming in and a feeling of vulnerability and of a little bit of scramble. It did affect my advertising costs. They went up hugely for a while because I kept advertising in the Canberra Times for quite a while. But also people who, and sorry, I'm having a massive answer for this, but people who book sex workers from the newspaper, in my experience, aren't prepared to pay much for their sex workers. So people who find you on the internet sort of expect a certain rate. But what is happening in the newspaper tends to be sort of more affordable. So the people who are reading that tend to be people with lower IT literacy skills or IT literacy.
Which is insane, given newspaper advertising has to be the most expensive form of advertising for sex work.
It's incredibly, I think it is. Yeah.
Far more than anything else. Nothing else is going to cost you $80 a day.
No, it's insane, isn't it? So I always had to sort of do a lower rate or a lower deal for people that were, newspaper clients, but it was about covering that cost then, and it was a lot of pressure. And of course, very short bookings. They'd be expecting, $100 booking. I just paid $80 for the advertising. So, very stressful. But gradually, once I got my pictures, I was able to put them on other websites, which then asked for an upfront cost of $100 and something, which was still stressful, but gradually, and after that point, my business grew quite quickly because I started to engage a little bit more with social media and things like that. And I think that, verified who I was rather than a potential scam or something like that. So I guess that drove me to get a little bit more out there, which was great for my business. But it was a horrible thing. And if I were in a more vulnerable position, could have led to some really shitty consequences. Yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah, FOSTA SESTA led to the deaths of workers, no doubt.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's horrific.
What was your experience?
Didn't affect me one bit. I hadn't heard of Backpage or Cracker until April of 2018. I hadn't heard of Scarlet Blue. I don't know about any of that stuff. And I know it's incredibly privileged. And similar to you, it was just a series of where I happened to be at that point in time.
Yeah.
It literally just did not affect me. For many years at that point, I didn't advertise anywhere. So it didn't affect my advertising because I didn't advertise. So all of my clientele was word of mouth and regulars. And at that point, I had been on Twitter for a couple of months, and I was starting to see returns from my social media time investment. But it did nothing changed for me. And that was the first time I had heard about things in the sex industry being affected by laws, and that I was like, everyone's freaking out. What's happening? What's this site that exists that I didn't even know about? I am extraordinarily lucky in that sense. And I have to say that I am the only one I know of that wasn't affected by that. And I am talking about from people who work on the street to people who do online sex work to people who charge $1,000 an hour. I don't know another escort or another sex worker that was not impacted by it, because I think what people maybe don't realize is the flow and effect of that, of all of the people who were using Backpage and Cracker, which was thousands of people. I mean, huge amounts of people, right?
It was nonstop.
Yeah. All of those people then either lost their houses and, didn't make it through, which is horrific. And the ones that were able to scramble together some dollars or whatever it is they had to do to get their business up and running again, they then moved to all the other websites that cost more, or to the newspapers. And then those markets became flooded. So then the clientele that was usually looking at the higher end websites or at the newspapers or whatever suddenly had double or more the amount of workers to choose from. So then those who, the sex workers who are charging $1,000 an hour or whatever it is they're charging, they were also affected because suddenly their market was completely flooded. So it really penetrated across the entire industry. And I just happened to be sitting on this weird little rock in the middle of the tsunami that just was like, oh, okay, wow, this is wild. And now, thankfully, I know a lot more about it and, have educated myself. But it was just horrific.
I'm glad that you didn't have to experience that because it was really intense. It was really shocking, and there was a lot of frustration in that. Like, we're in Australia. Look, the frustration with the law itself, with those laws, is a lot, and I think that's something we will definitely delve into when we do an episode about it. But the fact that it doesn't really, do anything to stop trafficking, and trafficking is an greater issue in many other industries.
And if anything, makes it worse.
Yes, exactly, and so many reasons. But a huge part of the frustration was that we're in Australia. Our job is legal, and you're just, you're really fucking us here. In fact, I had money in my Cracker account for credits for advertising, and when it went down, all that went, like everyone I know, they just lost their money that was with it.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
And it's this thing that I always come back to, that's like, the problem for me with the hierarchy, with the idea that, those that are charging a lot more and are more established, people like me who have websites and have branding and all that kind of shit, the idea that is more valid and more in need of rights and that sort of thing is so backward, because the sex industry exists for the marginalized. Like, the sex industry is so important. Actually, I was just talking to my mum and dad at dinner last night about this, because I was talking about a bunch of my friends who all have ADD or ADHD. And I was rattling off a few names, and my mum went, "Are they all sex workers?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually, every single one of them is, yeah." And my dad jumped in, and this is a bit of a perhaps more uneducated, not knowledgeable point of view. And he said, "How the fuck are they doing sex work?" And I said, "Dad, sex work is an option for so many of us, because how the fuck do you think they're going to do a 9 to 5? Like, if you think, how are they going to manage an hour with somebody focusing or whatever his, concern was about that, how the fuck do you think they're going to work for a corporation that requires them to check in at a certain time and whatever, And that's the thing. The fact that there are people who have $1 to their name that they can chuck an ad up and earn their rent for the week. That's why the sex industry is here. That's and they're the people that are at the heart of the sex industry.
I mean, at the time that I was, and I'm going to just really quickly just go back through my phone to when I was first working privately. So I used to get a hotel, and I would pay $1 for my ad, or maybe $5 in a night, because you could bump it to the top. So it was such a fast moving. And this is why people would go, "Well, why didn't you just go to another site? Or why wasn't there something that's been Cracker since?" And the beauty of Cracker was that it was immediate. So you would you'd say, "Today I'll get ready for work, and I'll post my ad, and people know I'm ready now and start contacting me, and then other people will advertise they're ready, and then I'll bump again, and I'll be at the top." And even though a lot of sites have available now functions and things like that, it just wasn't like Cracker. Cracker, you'd go, "Well, that woman is almost certainly available now, I'll see her." And so it was really convenient in that way. So I would work short notice. So I'd pay $1. I'd pay, I think, $150 a night for this hotel room, and then I would do a few bookings, usually, what have I got here, about 2 or 3, maybe 4 if I was really pushing it. But I would do, $100 booking, $150, $100 booking. So it's that $350 in a night minus $150 minus the $1 or $5 for advertising. And so, make $300 profit. $300, $200, less than $200 profit in a day. And that would be my income. And that was a lot of money for me. And that was literally to pay the bills. So I was very much relying on that structure, because then when that was gone, how do I tell people I'm available now? How do I get them? I can put myself on an ad, but it just didn't have the same effect. And again, then I had to spend $80 or more, and that would be on a day where people would not look for me now. Like, then that ad would just go to waste.
Yeah.
Very frustrating.
And it was historically speaking, the sex industry has always been far more available now focused. I mean, before the internet, there were phone calls and ads in papers and all that sort of stuff. But back in the day, it was brothels or windows or, adult bookstores. Like it was, you go there and if someone's standing there, you go to a booking. So, I mean, this whole booking in advance thing, which is my fucking livelihood, and I would go insane if it wasn't like that.
No.
But that's very, very new.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to demonstrate is basically the amount of vulnerability involved for sex workers like that, and the lack of privilege. Like you said, I think for somebody like me, it was really approachable. I could put that $1 ad up, I could get my hotel room, and I could know that maybe I'd get a few bookings that would cover the cost of that and give me a little bit more in my pocket. Whereas, and I guess that's a function for a lot of people with various things in their life that make it difficult for them to have a regular schedule.
Yeah.
It was really handy like that. And definitely, I was not a privileged worker. I definitely think I'm very privileged. And again, I'm going to say I have privilege. I'm aware of my privilege. It really impacted me. So massive.